think I got a little bit too much light in here. So let me take care of that right now. I'm going to take care of that right this second. Ah, not exactly professional what I just did, but I didn't feel like turning this off just to start over again. I'm really terrible with lighting. What can I say? But anyway, this is just a YouTube channel in its infancy stage right now, 1 year after the fact. And one of these days, I'm going to go and maybe acquire a professional studio when I get hundreds of thousands of subscribers and be the next Kyle Kalinske. Anyway, for right now, this is what you got. I want to start by saying I have a cultural and political connection with Spain. Um, some of you know this, some of you don't. And virtually anybody who knows me knows this about me. I am half Puerto Rican. My mother's Puerto Rican. My dad's American from North Carolina. My mother's my mother is Puerto Rican, obviously from Puerto Rico. They live in Puerto Rico. Uh, I have a cultural connection and a political connection, but the cultural connection is my mother and my great grandparents. My mom barely knew when they were alive, but my great grandparents emigrated from Spain to Puerto Rico in the 1890s. And so, and although I've never been to Spain, I am planning to one day visit the country. Mm, If I do, it'll probably be in the year 2024 would be the time I would do this because I would love to visit Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, for the 50th anniversary of the Carnation Revolution. And while I'm in, if I do this and go to Lisbon, Portugal to celebrate, I will probably tiptoe into Spain while I'm there to kind of enjoy perhaps a week off over there overseas. So anyway, I am rambling on and on, but I just want to mention to you my cultural connection with Spain, and there's a political one as well. As you know, I'm a socialist. Some people say, he's a social democrat. Well, it's the same thing to me, but that's always something that people are going to argue back and forth within left wing circles. Some of the shenanigans done by some vicious partisans on the right, discount them. Um, yes, I have a cultural connection, also a political connection with Spain because I'm a socialist, and Spain had a socialist government um, in the 1930s that was unfortunately overthrown by Francisco Franco of Spain's military, and he was able to take over Spain with the help of Hitler's Germany and Mussolini's Italy. Um, the government of Spain, the left wing government, had support from the Soviet Union. Social Democrats, socialists, communists, anarchists, Trotskyists. This is where they kind of united because they thought support for this government in Spain was important, and they were correct to do so. Um, and so this is where all the left wing infighting ever taken place over the years is it was one place where the left were united in a one common cause. It was the Spanish Civil War. It was the government were on the side of good back then, and we America actually sent an independent, unofficial brigade, paramilitary organization there called the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. Yeah, it was mostly communists, but there were social democrats and New Deal liberals in that coalition. What happened? The Socialist Party of America had what was called a Debs column that joined up with the Abraham Lincoln Brigade to fight for the cause in Spain to prevent it from becoming fascist. And that's just a little bit of the history I have about Spain and everything. Well, Spain was kind of a fascist state, not necessarily Hitler's level or even Mussolini's level, but it was pretty damn bad still. Um, Spain and Portugal both were fascist governments over the years, and their fascism ended around the same time. In Portugal, it ended in 1974 through a peaceful coup, which was referred to as the Coronation Revolution. And I was talking about Portugal earlier. And Spain, when Franco died, Juan Carlos, the monarch in Spain, reformed the government of Spain toward democracy. So Spain and Portugal are both pretty young democracies in Western Europe by today's standards. But needless to say, Spain is a good democracy, and there's a lot of good things you can say about Spain. Spain's got actually pretty good freedom of speech laws today, uncomparable, about comparable to the U.S. U.S. doesn't exactly have the monopoly when it comes to freedom of speech. Believe it or not, there are some other countries that are pretty good on freedom of speech, and Spain is ranked as having one of the most free speech laws in the world. But I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about other than free speech right now. Um, the the current PSOE government, the Socialist Workers' Party government in Spain, Partido Socialista Obrero, uh, Partido Socialista Obrero España. My Spanish is pretty bad. The Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, the current government of Pedro Sanchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, enacted a new law for the Spanish workforce that would actually lower the hours of the work week. They will still get their full time work week pay, but they will be only be required to work a 4 day work week that is 32 hours. And some people in America, many people, even some fairly progressive people in the United States, be like, "That's crazy." Not really. I mean, 32 hours. I mean, I would favor it. I mean, France lower their work week to 35 hours back in the 1990s. And I'm guessing that most countries, kind of more in the Western world, has more or less the 40-hour work week. I'm not sure about Denmark and some of the other Nordic countries. I certainly don't see them going over 40 hours, but I could sort of, I need to do a little more research on them. But I think that they don't work as many hours as we do. But in Spain, they're talking about lowering the work week down to 32 hours while keeping their current pay. It is something that I will be receptive to here in the United States, and it actually makes good economic sense because if you have the 32-hour work week, this is what will happen: 32-hour work week, family time. You hear in America, the some social conservatives, the religious right, talk about family values. Well, what better way to enhance family values than to have more quality time for individual working men and working women to spend with their family? It's just, and good family structures, and they're correct. A good family structure would actually enhance the quality of life for the children involved. They'll become better educated, and they will become probably more likely better citizens as a result. Um, and having a good quality life is key to that. So yes, more time of individual men and women for their family. Let's see what else. Personal health quality. When you work less and you're getting paid the same, you have time to rejuvenate and get yourself not as injured in your body. I mean, the body can just withstand so much. So if you lower the work hours, I think that people, especially in extreme physical work or even working behind the desk, where it's very sedentary, they will have time to go. Yeah, of course, of their free will, but they will have more time to do things like their quality of their own diet would probably improve on their own because they will make better choices about what to do as far as eating right, and they will dedicate more time into exercising and everything. I'm not saying that should be done by decree. I'm just saying that's what would be have been done, and I'm putting that into my personal experience. I've always worked 40 hours, but one of the ways I've been able to get my weight down over the years was to have a a set schedule, so I don't have to flip flop all around and be too tired to go and work out. And that's what happens with a lot of people when they have split shifts and everything. And I have my views on what we need to do. I actually would abolish split shifts employment if I could in this country, or in some cases where it's extremely necessary to do it, uh, give them extra pay for it. But I think if you work in the service industry or what have you, I think that everyone, as a condition of being hired, will work a set schedule, one shift only, and none of this 7 to 3 o'clock one day, 12:30 to 9 the next day, 10:30 to 7 o'clock the next day, 6 o'clock to 2:30 the next day, 1:30 to 9 the next day. That's stupid. That's stupid. You don't do that. That's abusive. I would say people working those kind of hours, that's why they have heart problems and diabetes and hypertensions and strokes. And I think that is a health related question. So balance of work life will include more likely better personal health for the majority of the people. You lower the work hours, you can have actually you can spread around more jobs, you know and I've been noticing that outsourcing is not just a problem, but artificial intelligence is supposed to make us work less and be paid more, and not work as hard, but it's doing just the opposite. Automation of the economy, when those places that do have that, you have people who are actually working harder and accomplishing less, and being you know being more mistreated than they were previously. So, I would say that this would be a way to spread around jobs. And of course, again, I would, in most places, I would ban some areas of artificial intelligence where it's actually just a way to take away people's jobs. Damn it, stop taking away people's jobs, corporations. People are entitled to work. And I think that if people work less hours, they will be less tired, which means that when they go to work, they're going to be more productive. And so, I just think it's a win-win. It's a win-win to lower the work week from 40 hours here in the United States to lowering it down to 32 hours, and good for the PSOE, Socialist Workers Party government of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Y'all done well. Now, the USA, problem is that the USA can't even have something as minimal, as basic, as commonsensical as universal health care, let alone lowering the work week down to something like 32 hours while keeping 40 hours of pay. But I'm hoping, and I'm not going to hold my breath, but I do support the Protect the Right to Organize Act being proposed, which passed the U.S. House and needs to go and pass in the U.S. Senate. But it's hard to say if it's going to do that. And this legislation, which is probably more important than Medicare for all, would pretty much, in effect, get rid of right to work laws in all 50 states, because they try to paint right to work as protecting the employee. No such a thing. No such a thing. No such a thing. The right to work means right to starve. Do not believe people like Larry Kudlow when he tells you that right to work states are more prosperous than closed shop states. You're going to tell me that Mississippi is a more prosperous state than, let's say, Maine? Please, please. And we're turning into a nationwide Mississippi. I'm not trying to disparage individuals in the state of Mississippi, but I'm talking about Mississippi being the most politically conservative state, economically, socially, in every way, shape, and form in this country. And unfortunately, we're moving more toward the direction of Mississippi and less away from the enlightened direction of, let's say, Vermont. But yeah, as I said, when you have 6% of the workforce that's unionized, that's a very big problem right there too. Yeah, I can guarantee you that lowering the hour day from, I mean, work week from 40 down to 32 would be a greater chance if we can turn 6% of the workforce into 60% of the workforce being unionized. Right now, I'll settle going back to the way it was under the Eisenhower years when it was 33, 34% of the workforce. We had a better middle class when we were more unionized in our economy, and that included even jobs that were not union, that were scared of unions, so they went and make sure that people in non-union jobs got paid pretty well and had good benefits and good vacation times and good retirements. So we need to bring those unions back, folks, if we're going to have any kind of progress being made. Now, the Democrats, they better rediscover their New Deal liberalism, their New Deal progressivism, and they better reject the Bill Clinton soft Reaganomics that's been the cancer of the Democratic Party um, since the 1990s. They need to reject the Bill Clinton model. You need to go and take the Bill Clinton legacy, rip it up, or actually write down all the Bill Clinton legacies that exist, like outsourcing of jobs and more corporatism and being Wall Street friendly. Write that down, ball it up on a piece of paper, wipe it in your ass, and then drop it down the toilet. That's what needs to be done right there with the Bill Clinton direction of the Democratic Party, which Reaganized the Democratic Party. Stop that. Yeah, yeah. Need to go back to the ideology and the vision of Franklin D. Roosevelt, America's greatest president. Anyway, that's all I got to say for right now. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were not 100% in agreement, that's okay. Comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to go and create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you can keep up to date. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace. Class struggle yesterday, today, tomorrow, until we have full economic and social justice for all.